Hello, everyone. Have you ever wondered why big spaceships that Elon Musk is building in SpaceX? Have you ever wondered why those spaceships are not allowed to have any advertising on them? Like, for example, why can't Pepsi have a logo on the side of one of Elon Musk's spaceships? And, like, why can't companies advertise on the side of spaceships? Right? It seems like a logical place to put an advertisement or a sponsorship, right? Well, I'll explain the reason why uh, they're not allowed, or at least they weren't allowed in the past, to put advertisements, for example, like Pepsi, on the side of spaceships. Okay, so back to this Cool Spy magazine, which I've been using for the whistleblower videos. I think this is the sixth or the seventh in the series. Um, the order is not that important because you could watch these videos out of order and still understand them. Um, so thank you for coming to my channel, YouTube channel. And I'm not like a big time professional YouTube streamer, so this is just something I do on the side, and I hope that I can get more views. Um, I don't really care if, I mean, there's all these YouTube videos right now trending about people accusing the app of being rigged. The big time YouTubers are even saying they're accusing the app of being rigged and whatever. I'm not gonna get into that. It doesn't affect me because I'm not a big time YouTube streamer and I don't do this as a job. I just do this for fun on the side. So today I'm going to talk to you about Pepsi and just general products in general and why they're not allowed to be advertised on spaceships that, like, for example, the spaceships that Elon Musk is building. So reading books pays off because where I found this information was I actually got it from reading a Dan Brown novel. So of course, you probably know Dan Brown. He's a famous author. He wrote The Da Vinci Code. He also wrote Angels and Demons, and he wrote Inferno. Another book that Dan Brown wrote, which is very popular, is called a Breaking Point, or no, sorry, Deception Point. The book by Dan Brown is called Deception Point. It's a really good book. And basically, long story short, without spilling details of the book or spoiling the book for you guys if you haven't read it, because it's really good, Deception Point by Dan Brown. He just explains that the reason why, well, the book is more than just explaining, like, the book is not about advertising. The book is just there was like a couple pages in which it was briefly explained why spaceships don't advertise like Pepsi and Starbucks on the side of their spaceships. And the reason is because the government has control, or at least had control for many years, of the space industry. And this private sector was not allowed to send their own spaceships into space. And so when the government had full control, like NASA's a government organization, when the United States government had full control over the space industry, therefore the private sector, and the private sector includes companies like Pepsi, right? The private sector includes Starbucks, right? Companies like that. The private sector was not allowed because the private sector wasn't even allowed to send their own spaceships into space. The private sector, of course, also wasn't allowed to advertise on the side of spaceships because the government, at least for many years, had full control of the space industry. And finally, when the government allowed the private sector to start sending their own spaceship into space, because I'm pretty sure, don't get me wrong, but I'm pretty sure Elon Musk is from the private sector, then suddenly now it's opening up the doors. More billionaires, private sector, more people from the world are starting to build their own spaceships. I even read a story. It was a documentary on Netflix, and it was about these people in Europe, really brilliant, talented scientists from Europe who I think they had applied to NASA but were denied jobs at NASA. And so they just decided in Europe that they were going to build their own spaceship, right? Very interesting documentary on Netflix. So Dan Brown, he's a really good author, and Deception Point, I recommend you read it if you haven't. And this magazine, by the way, I just want to say, really interesting, really affordable, in my opinion. So it's only like, I think, $15. I think it said $15 Canadian, 17 American, and I think it said euros. I can't remember what it said for euros, but it's a pretty cool magazine. I suggest you guys read it. And yeah, so I just wanted to explain about Pepsi and why for many years Pepsi wasn't allowed to be, or any actually company like Starbucks, for example, wasn't allowed to be advertised on the side of spaceships that Elon Musk was building. Oh, and another thing I want to say, which is actually it's funny, was one of the main points of the video I want to say was that, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion because I'm a big fan of Elon Musk, or I'm a big fan in general of science, technology, the space industry. So, I mean, I'm just saying in general that I appreciate the sentiment that Elon Musk is, building future technology and trying to bring us into the future. So I appreciate in general that sentiment. Whether he would be right to be president of the country, I mean, I would vote for him, but whether I'm not saying that he would be right to be president. I mean, I'm not a political expert. I'm not an expert on politics. I'm just a small-time Canadian. I'm just a Canadian, and I'm just a fan of Elon Musk, and I'm just letting you know that in my opinion, and it's my right to give my opinion, if Elon Musk was on the ticket, but even for Canada, like if Elon Musk was running for Prime Minister of Canada, I would vote for him. And if Elon Musk was running for President of the United States, if I could even, because I'm Canadian, if I even was allowed to vote for the President of the United States, which I'm not because I'm Canadian, but if I was and Elon Musk was on the ticket, I would vote for Elon Musk. So that's just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm not a political expert at all. I'm not saying that I'm an expert on running countries, definitely not. But I'm a fan of science and technology, and I'm a fan of Elon Musk, and I think he would be a great. I mean, compared to Trump, Elon Musk would be a great. I mean, he's pretty much, isn't he like a pretty much a rocket scientist? I mean, how could you? I mean, of course, a rocket scientist would be really cool, in my opinion, a good candidate to be president or even vice president. I mean, even if, for example, Kamala Harris, who apparently is now the Democratic nominee and running against Donald Trump, even if, for example, Kamala Harris, who might actually now be the first female president of the United States, she could make Elon Musk her vice president, right? And then there you go. Now you have a man and a woman running the country. For all those people who are opposed, I'm not opposed to a female president. I'm all for a female president. If the female is the right person for the job, then of course, why cannot be a female president? But what I'm saying is like now you have the best of both worlds because for all the voters, men and women, you have a male and a female running the country. So it will appeal to all voters. It'll appeal to men, to women. It'll appeal to scientists. It'll appeal to really cool people who are interested in space and science and technology. So, in my opinion, I think what would be really smart for Kamala Harris to do would be to make Elon Musk her vice president, her VP running mate. And then there you go. I mean, you can't go wrong. Kamala Harris, she has the political experience. And then Elon Musk, he has the scientific and technological experience to run a country. And I think that in administration, a Kamala Harris, Elon Musk administration would be so cool. Because suddenly now with Elon Musk and his SpaceX and technology and bringing us into space with his spaceships, that would be such a cool administration. That would be an administration that I would so want to vote for. Because I feel like between those two, between Kamala Harris and her knowledge of politics, and between Elon Musk and his being a rocket scientist, pretty much building spaceships, I mean, with those smart two on the ticket, I think, oh, of course, that would be an amazing, really cool, interesting administration. That if I were allowed to vote for an American president, because I'm Canadian, so I'm not, but if I were allowed to vote, I would totally vote for Elon Musk and Kamala Harris. And on top of that, if Elon Musk was running for Prime Minister of Canada, I would vote for him too in that sense. So anyways, I hope you guys like this video, and I'm gonna try to keep bringing more interesting videos to you. I hope that you guys have a good weekend, and yeah, and I hope that people will leave some comments, because lately I've noticed that no one's left any comments on my videos, and I'm not sure if people are seeing the videos, if they're being actually really shown to people. But you know, I try to bring interesting, nice videos to people. I think I talk about cool topics, and would be really happy to see some comments. Any comments would be nice. Anyways, thank you for watching, and goodbye.